Hello everyone, and in today's video we'll be looking at a scenario where civilization starts over. Before I start recording, I want to say I previously just recorded this video, but the recording got lost, and instead of just doing video like 84's Wicso 8.5, I decided, sorry about that, I decided to redo this as I don't want you to feel this, so I'll try to go on what I did on last episode, but I might make some differences. But remember to like and subscribe, and let's begin. Now, I've changed a couple of things, like the watercolour and this Iraqi team's colour. And speaking of them, this is where we're going to start, as the leader who rules this country is very imperialist. He wants land, he doesn't care what the civilians want. And honestly, the civilians in this country are kind of just like abuse, so they end up taking all of this land here, which is a huge amount of land, but they don't take this land here as the pink team takes it, and these two countries fought in the same war together for independence. So what was that? What is this? I don't know if you guys saw that, but the screen just went weird. I don't think you guys saw that. It's happened to me once before and you didn't see it. Anyways, over here in Caucasia, the Black Sea is fully known about, as all these countries here, pretty much the pink and thingy team here connect up and will start exploring land together. And they start to explore a lot of land, pretty much filling in Caucasia. Why is that happening? But eventually, the pink and Ukrainian team are just going to be exhausted out of all their money. They'll stop exploring, but they are able to discover a bit more of the Caspian Sea. Eventually, though, in Arabia, this is where a lot of explorations will be taken, specifically on the coast, though, as I mean, there's a big old desert here. They have discovered some of it, but now they'll stick to the coast, as Qatar is discovered, and pretty much modern day UAE is discovered, and all of it is. And they don't really dare to go into the desert. They make a few explorations into it, but they mainly stick to the coast. And the exploration team over here is obviously the orange team. They discover all this land, even cross into Africa, which they don't know it's Africa. Eventually, this island too will be discovered. If all this land being discovered, they'll finally be brave enough to go into the desert here, which all of Arabia is discovered, and now the orange team can start taking land. And the orange team isn't the richest of countries, so they won't take the most amount of land ever, but they will take some land, even making a straight line border, which is not even, why is this happening? Which is the first ever straight line border in the world, I think. I don't know. They'll make a straight line border, whatever. And so yeah, they'll take a fair bit of land considering what they are. Even like help the Egyptians with some explorations, moving down the thingy sea. I don't know what it's called. I forgot. Red Sea, I think. Anyways, they just start to discover more land. Nah, yeah, that's it. They just discover land. The Egyptians are very interested in discovering land, but mainly focus on the coast and a bit into the interior. Eventually, they'll go down the Nile Basin, which looks something like this. I don't know, I'm going to say that's the Nile River, and start to explore parts of land along it. And I hate this thing, it's like, it won't let me colour in, but it's now letting me. I'll start to explore the Nile River. Now, it does go a bit into Sudan, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, eventually all this land here will be discovered, and a lot of Africa is starting to be discovered, mainly the coast, as it's a lot more better. The coast is better than this weird interior land here, but they do make some explorations into the Sahara Desert, but they don't go well. And these explorationers usually come back not willing to go back again, but they are able to discover the coast, as the coast is more easier to discover. Now, a lot of countries will start to hear about this African land that's been found, and some countries will expand to Africa. Most notably, only African country, the Egyptians, which pretty much ancient Egypt, they will take a lot of land, mainly following the coast, but they do make some claims into like the Sahara Desert, and yeah, they will stop expanding now as they're getting a bit too big. And even though that they're one of the richest countries in the world, in fact they are the richest country in the world, they're not the most populated, so they will stop expanding now. They do take some more Arabian coast over here, but now they will stop expanding to try that fix their population issues as the least populated country in the world, even though being that one of the best countries to live in the world. And they will start like encouraging people to move to their country, and with some more people they take this land here, not much, which encourages the blue team to cut the Egyptians off from over here taking all this. So yeah, now none of these countries here really what is happening. None of these countries here really have a grudge against each other. The only countries that don't like each other are like the Pink and Iraq, because Iraq, they're being a weird dictatorship. I mean, all these countries are dictatorships, but like Iraq's doing it weirdly. They're killing people for no reason. No one really likes that, but they're not going to do anything as Iraq is becoming a very strong country. Plus, they're not as strong as like the ancient Egyptians, the red team, blue team, or even like the Ukrainian team, but they could take on the pink team. They could probably like force them to surrender. They could take on the orange team, and yeah, the ancient Egyptians would probably be a stalemated war. But they are continuing to take a lot of land, and this has some countries kind of worried as, you know, they're becoming too strong too fast. But no one's going to do anything as they don't really want to, apart from the pink team. The pink team is scared of these guys, so they will start to expand a lot, kind of showing off to Iraq. But they're mainly doing this as they want just land, and they don't really care about Iraq because they know that eventually they will fall from what they're doing as the people rise up and overthrow the Iraqi dictators. Well, that's not happening so far. So the pink team will just be patient. They do link up with the Crimean people, the Ukrainians. They do link up with them as creating with a bit of money from pretty much the red team, because they want to become allies, will start to expand, and the red team doesn't like that their money is being used for expansion, but that the Iraq problem, they will do nothing about it, as they'd rather not, as they have their own problems. And yeah, so they do nothing, and Ukraine greatly expands, and yeah, they have a lot of land now, and yeah, they're becoming one of the strongest countries in the world. Not slowly, well, not fast, but very slowly, very, very slowly. But now, let's move on to Europe's exploration land, as with pretty much no one telling any of these countries to stop. They will start to move into like the unexplored lands of Europe, and no one can tell them to stop, as pretty much the only European countries like the red and green team, and you can make a case for the blue team or the pink team. These are the true European countries, the countries that are actually like they're actually in Europe. For example, instead of like people arguing if like other countries are in Europe. What am I saying? I don't know. Eventually though, the red team will get past these mountains in the south, and with some help, with like 10 guys moving into the Alps, they will start to explore these mountains. Well, not much though. I said rather do better stuff. Well, they start not they don't discover that. That'd be a bit crazy, but they start to discover the Alps and they find mountains after mountains. They mainly focus on the French coast. They're not able to get past the Pyrenees, I think is what they call. And the red team will stop their little exploration as they want to show off to other countries that they're a strong country and no one can mess with them. So they will be brave enough to claim over the Alps, which really do nothing. Nothing happens. They just have to spend money of keeping these lands. They will expand a bit into like the Balkans. It's like once again, no one's really trying to stop them, and they're just wasting money. But after pretty much the Romans take over this French coast here, will actually start to gain money, and this is very well for them. This goes very well for them as they're becoming very rich. Now they're already the second richest country in the world after Egypt, but they're getting up on that spot. But something happens. A couple of red team explorers who are out discovering like what's past these mountains. First they find these islands, which is cool, I guess. But they land in Iberia and their ships are destroyed from a storm, and they get stuck here. And instead of trying to go back because they have no ships, they will just start their own little civilization like any crazy person would. And these guys will be known as the Lime Team as they take these islands and this Iberian land, and eventually the Red Team makes contact with them, but they're not too bothered. As I mean, if they wanted these guys back into their empire, they could easily take them out in a war. So they're not too bothered. They have better things to deal with, like some internal problems over here that they're able to deal with. But yeah, they're not interested. So these guys will live on for a bit. They will of course have to make a capital, and what better place to put their capital like this little tip land here. They put their capital there, and they're happy. But they're the weakest, the poorest, and the least populated country in the world. So they'll have to fix those problems. They are able to like, explore a bit more of Iberia, mainly the coastal areas though. As the coast is better, but like the Romans, they get up to these mountains are not really like brave enough to go past them. They do link up with the Bay of Biscay though, which is a very big news as a bay has been found. They're not able to like discover Africa. Well, yeah, this is whatever I guess. I really hope this recording doesn't like go missing too, so I'd be very mad. And you'd have to see a bad video. Bad video. Yeah, anyways, over here, this whole sea here is known about. These areas are connected up, and yeah, the orange team will start to expand again, and you know, they're not the richest of countries in the world, they're one of the poorest, and like all this expansion is kind of getting to their civilians who have to pay for this expansion, so they're going to say to their government like, stop expanding or else the government doesn't listen, so a revolution occurs. Not going to recolour the orange team. The orange team, like, people win, and they do expand a little bit into Africa, only to like control trade going up this sea here, if there is any, probably is, but they take it and start to not expand, start to like grow their economy and everything. And yeah, a lot of stuff is happening. Most notably, like one of the most important things is the connecting up of like Iberia and the rest of Europe. So they're known about, but neither Lime Team or Red Team is willing to explore anymore. Lime Team does take a bit of land, but not much. As yeah, they're starting to deal with some other stuff like growing their economy and everything like the Orange Team is doing. But we do see the red and green team agreeing to set up a country like over here to be a buffer state between both countries. This country will bring the dot. No, I want to own that land. Will it let me go back? Jim, there will be the dark grey team, and they'll put their capital right here, kind of closer to Ukraine, as Ukraine is a lot more friendly with them. And yeah, this is the world. Not all of the Mediterranean is known about, but it's like the Egyptians aren't really wanting to explore more. They're wanting to fix all the problems they have, and and like discovering more land won't fix those problems. So they stop exploring. But the red team hears about this land down here, makes a landing, and all of modern day Tunisia is discovered. And the red team will take it upon themselves to take some of this African land here, and yeah, all of the coast right up on the north is taken, not much else. We do see an interesting event happen. People from the red team who want to start their own civilization will start their own civilization, being the pink team, and they want the whole control of. They want all of this, but the red team probably won't give it them unless something happens. So they will have to keep wishing, but they will try to get all of red team Tunisia, and they're going to try buy it, but it's not going to work as they're not giving enough money. Like, they're not offering enough. But these guys will become their own country, and their capital city will be over here in modern day Tunisia. And yeah, that's going to do it for the exploration of Africa. No more of it will be discovered in the north. In the south, they're starting to, like, the orange team who's against taking over land isn't against, discovering land. And all this land here will be discovered. And this is big. Pretty much all of the Horn of Africa is discovered. And yeah, our orange team is maybe thinking of taking it, but the civilians like, nuh-uh, we brought you into this, we made you the leaders, and we can make you not the leader. We can get rid of your power. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyways, a few years later, all of the Caspian Sea is known about, and countries might start making claims over it, or new countries might take over land over it. This pretty much coastal area of Iran is known about, and they go into like the mainland of Iran. That's found. It's not very useless for them. It's not very useful for them. These lakes here are discovered, and it's like the world has found a lot more land. Even in Iberia, the red team, land team, has finished like doing their stuff, and they discover a lot of Iberia. Not all of it though, but a lot of it. Not able to explore the southern land as there's still some issues. Northern France, yeah, not much progress. But like over here, where Russia is, and all these countries, a lot of progress has begun. Hello, why is this country being called in? A lot of progress has begun, and it's not looking like it's going to slow down any time soon. But they stop exploring as money, and then they will start exploring. And yeah, these countries getting interested like what else is out there, and because for them the world looks like this, but only the white parts only. They don't even know what the whole of Iberia looks like. They don't know the whole of the Mediterranean looks like. So they're very curious what else is out there. But they will stop expanding. Well, I mean, not the whole world. Some countries will continue expanding. Well, not expanding, but discovering land like the Red Sea. But most of the world just starts to focus on their economies once again. And when like these little expansion breaks happen, it's not like the whole world just like forgets about expanding and like goes to themselves to fix their country. They're doing this at the same time as them exploring. So when all this land here is starting to be like there's a treaty dividing up all of northern Arabia. They're still exploring them. And speaking of that treaty, it'll be between Iraq, blue team, Egypt. Orange team, of course, the leaders are very anti-expansionist, and the people, I thought they won't be sitting in this one. They'll just leave it. They won't. Anyways, let's look at what all these three countries want and claim over. Yeah, and this is the treaty now. The already seen civilians like they speak out against their government saying start expanding so Iraq can't, so they take this land, making some horrible borders. Let me fix this real quick as it looks really bad. That's better. Not a lot new. They eventually cut off like Iraq from expanding anymore into Arabia by doing this. Very like weird. Forgot the name. I don't know. But this cut off Iraq from expanding, and the government, like, people always said stop Iraq from expanding, but they will take it a bit more into their own hands as they claim all of this now, and no, not all that, as they claim all this, and the people aren't happy. They only wanted them to cut Iraq off, like I've said. The government kind of backstabbed them in taking a lot more land. They take some African land even though they didn't have to. So like, the civilians aren't happy, but the government, and I don't know if I'm saying government, the dictator and his helpers, I guess, as he's dumb, they will start like suppressing the civilians, making sure that this like they're in charge forever. And this makes the civilians very mad. So what will they do? Some civilians who are being poorly treated will settle this land here, and that means team didn't take it, so they're going to settle it. The yellow team is born. The yellow team's born, and yeah, they become a country. And you might be thinking, what am I going to do since they're the same close capital city? Their country's the same colour as the capital city, so I'm just going to change the colour of the capital. I'm going to make it white. And I don't want to put it here because it's like the blue team from 80s Pro Series. So I'm going to put it right over here. Yeah, and this is the new yellow team. And it's full of people who are kind of anti-expansionist. They will take like this land here, like, because it could be important in the future, and they don't want Iraq taking it. And yeah, like they're fairly anti-expansionist. They will like discover some more land, but not a lot, as they're very poor, very weak. And if the Army team wanted to, they could just like get them back with force, but they're not going to, as they don't want to upset their civilians too much. I mean, they're already mad at you, but you don't want them to be more mad. But more and more people are moving to this yellow country, which is very good. Sorry about that. So what's happening now? Not a lot really can happen like over in Arabia. So the red team, what they're doing, what are they doing? I'll tell you what they're doing. They're expanding into Spain as they take pretty much all of, not all of, but a lot of modern day Catalonia, which leaves the Lime team very mad as they thought they were allies, but no, red team will use them to discover Iberia, and they also link up with the Bay of Biscay, and the Lime team feels kind of betrayed. So what will they do? They're going to also expand, trying to keep like the Lime team away from them, as they think if they expand, they'll become stronger. So yeah, they're going to expand a lot, and I didn't even show all of it. They expand into the Bay of Biscay. So these guys are expanding a lot, maybe a bit too much, but hey ho, you came to these countries as you wanted to, so you can't do anything, right? Well, that's what the leaders think. The leaders are wrong, but we aren't going about that. Finally, one more thing will happen, and that is Iraq not taking more land. And this is kind of the breaking point for some countries. Iraq, their leader is killing people who they don't like. So a lot of people from this country are fleeing to the yellow one. Yellow one is actually coming fairly strong, and Iraq and the yellow country immediately have bad relations, as Iraq wants these people back, as they're starting to lose people. They're not gaining population, they're losing population. So Iraq wants them back. And then what makes this whole situation worse is Iraq connecting up with this whole area of the yellow team. And yeah, the yellow team is very scared now. So they will ally, and still have first alliance, but they will ally with the pink team. And yeah, so a war might be inevitable. I don't know. Iraq will try avoid wars. These countries combined are stronger than it. Mainly the pink team, so they will try avoid war. But the pink and yellow country will try to push them into a war so they can liberate the people and mainly just take land. But Iraq will be smart. And yeah, one more country over here will be formed, and it will be the grey country. As these guys, like, I don't really know what their backstory is. I guess you could say people who just wanted their own country, made their own country. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe like people from the pink team who don't want war, who want peace, like just form their own country, like anyone would do. So like protesting. I don't know what their backstory is. It's new countries formed, and their capital will be right here. And yeah, that will do it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've not enjoyed making this again, but this map looks a lot different from the other map was. The other map had the whole Mediterranean explored, whole Iberia explored, and a lot more. This yellow country didn't exist, so this land here was just open, and there was a pink country here, but I've changed that as it makes a bit more sense. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed this video. I've, of course, not enjoyed it, but it looks a lot different. And yeah, I hope you. I already said that. I've said that 3 times. I look like an idiot. Remember to like and subscribe, and bye everyone. I hope you have a good day, and yeah, bye.